It's always helpful to zoom out. It's always, always, always helpful to zoom out and just look at things from a broader perspective. And all right, I usually, most of the time, 90% of the time, I'm looking at the daily chart. And the daily chart will communicate something to you. The 4-hour chart might communicate something else to you. The 1 hour, 15-minute chart, they're all going to communicate different things, but sometimes it's good to look at the weekly and the monthly time frames. And when I look at the weekly time frame, here's what I see. I see calls for it being over with Bitcoin premature. It's a no-brainer to me looking at this particular time frame that it is premature to say that it's over for Bitcoin. Now, in yesterday's video, I laid out 2 lines in the sand for if it gets below this price, yeah, I'm going to say it's over for a little bit. Not until 2028, but for a little bit. And if it gets above this price, it's game on and Bitcoin's going to rally to new all-time highs and maybe hit my January 2nd, 2024 target of $155,000, the target that I laid out on January 2nd, 2024. That could be in play. But right now we are in between, but calls for it being over are premature. Now, I've talked about the 50-week moving average, the green line. We haven't touched that. Maybe we won't. You know, I did suspect that we were going to touch the 50-week moving average. Now, if you look at some charts for Bitcoin, we might have touched on a wick on that big liquidation day. But on the ones that I'm paying attention to, especially like the Coinbase chart, no. I count the bottom under $104,000 last week as the wick, okay, as the bottom, and we did not touch the 50-week moving average. But then even looking at this weekly chart, what do we see? We see that Bitcoin on a weekly candle didn't even close below the 200-day moving average, which historically the 200-day moving average, I know there's lots of different moving averages, but that is such a significant moving average because I remember this in 2021. I remember this moment right here getting a little bit excited. Can you see where my candle is? Or not my candle, my finger is pointed. Okay, we lost all the moving averages, the 50-week, the 200, the bull market support band. But then, look at this, guys. We closed above the 50-week, above the bull market support band for a week, and then got rejected the 200-day. So the fact that we are holding here, and I got sucked in a little bit. I mean, I didn't buy anything, but like I got sucked into this possibility. Oh, hey, maybe now we're going to pump. And that was it for the bear market. But on the weekly chart, this actually looks perfectly fine. And then I'm sure if we were to look at RSI and MACD, do we see anything here? I mean, not really, honestly, not really. I mean, aside from Bitcoin reaching oversold territory, in the RSI and MACD, there's potential for the MACD histogram at least to start curling a little bit and heading higher. So there's hope. There's reasons for hope. If you have gotten at any point over the last 2 weeks where you've said it's over, I would argue that you were premature. And if you say that no doubt we're going to the stratosphere, to the moon, all that, and this was just a shakeout, I would say, you know, there's some reasons to just at least be a little cautious. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but one thing I will say is, yes, you have been too premature in saying that it's over. Okay. Some interesting things with Bitcoin and gold. Bitcoin and gold. And I'm going to revisit the lines in the sand, okay? But gold, you know, I've been talking about gold for a while now. I've been talking about, and gold is a much slower mover, but I've been talking about an eventual peak for gold. And it's looking like we've hit that peak. Gold hitting a peak at 43 and change. It went vertical, especially if we were to zoom out on gold and see, I mean, every candle, the weekly candles, the monthly candles, it's insane. That yes, at some point gold was going to cool off, and silver as well. I mean, silver, I'm not going to pull it up, the 45-year cup and handle for silver. And so now I'm looking at gold and I'm like, oh man, I am very excited to buy this dip on gold when the time comes. I don't think the time is close. I think it could take a year for gold to break through this all-time high of 4,300 and change. I think it could take silver a year. But when they do, that's going to be the time when those things, it might make the last couple months for gold just look like nothing, honestly, especially for silver. I think silver is going to go to $200 to $300 maybe this decade. That's more of like a 10-year timeline. But silver and gold are going to be the play at some point. And at some point, maybe more so than Bitcoin and altcoins, I'm sorry to say, but not right now. Ooh, definitely not right now. Okay, so gold dumped and Bitcoin pumped. All right. We've seen this before. We saw this earlier this year. Okay, let's go back to Bitcoin. We saw what happened. Bitcoin got down to the 50-week moving average. It bottomed out on April 7th. Gold at this time, gold was rallying. Gold went up to $3,500 an ounce and peaked on April 21st. And then after that, Bitcoin rallied really hard and blew past its previous all-time high before eventually peaking at $126,000 as of right now. And here we are. Okay, same playbook, pretty much tariffs. Oh no, the tariffs. Bitcoin bear market, it's over. And then Bitcoin just bounces off some support, doesn't quite get down to the 50-week moving average this time. And maybe it will still, I don't know. But then it bottoms out. So if that was the peak for gold, it would make sense for last week to be the bottom or 2 weeks ago to be the bottom for Bitcoin. And then what comes next is a potential Bitcoin rally to new all-time highs. So, okay, that might be what's next. And given where Bitcoin dominance is right now, now Bitcoin dominance looks bullish now, but that it's certainly, it probably has put in a lower high. Okay. So is there a potential next move down for Bitcoin dominance? There is at least the potential. There is cause for hope with your altcoins, but I am not touching altcoins until any more new buys on altcoins until we see a new all-time high for Ethereum. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Fool me. What happens when you fool me 50 times, So to revisit, I believe that Bitcoin is getting up to this level here. What's this level? It's the golden pocket from swing high to swing low. And that's somewhere between 117.5 and 119.5. I'll be pretty excited if Bitcoin breaks through 117.5. It might take a week whenever we get there to break through, just like it did if I showed you this from April and May. Same way, same thing. It might take a week for Bitcoin to break through. It might take a couple of weeks for Bitcoin to break through this circled area, the golden pocket. And if it does, then I will be calling for Bitcoin to go to $155,000. I will be calling for Ethereum to hit a new all-time high, go somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000. And I will call after Ethereum does that, after, for an altcoin moment similar to the end of 2024. But lots of ifs in place right now. So let's chill out for a second. We are not out of the woods. There's plenty of resistance above. But seeing the correlation between gold peaking and chopping or dumping and then Bitcoin rising, and seeing the fact that on the weekly again, Bitcoin, I left it, but let's go back there. On the weekly, Bitcoin doesn't look that bad. It looks pretty good. Yeah, there's potential. There is definitely potential for Bitcoin to go higher. That doesn't mean I'm buying altcoins. No. I am not buying altcoins. No. That means I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I might buy some altcoins on the other side of this level here for Bitcoin. I might. We'll see. So, yeah. A couple things from X. All right. Woo. M2, global liquidity, gold, Bitcoin. Remember those M2 charts, which I made fun of? Those are all the rage earlier this year, all the rage. And M2 global liquidity, I mean, it was interesting when M2 bottomed out, when it did, March and April. And then Bitcoin was a lagging correlator with that, bottomed out in March and April, and then started climbing. But we've certainly run out of steam with Bitcoin. But then gold has definitely been following global M2, which gold is much better of a correlator on longer time frames than Bitcoin with global M2. Now, there's one thing I want to caution you with something like this, because of course the person who posted this is mega bull, saying, "Oh, we're going to $170,000, $180,000 Bitcoin." The thing that I want to caution you about with this, and I've made videos talking about this, is that Bitcoin will somewhat correlate with M2 until it's over, and then when we go into the bear market, there's a significant deviation between Bitcoin and M2. So if we're going to go into bear market, then yeah, don't expect this. But again, what are the levels? If Bitcoin breaks this zone, then yeah, sure. Let's look for Bitcoin to go up to these levels. I'm sticking with $155,000. Let's do it. But that's an if. That's not a win. It's an if. Okay? And then, all right, where is gold going to go? Because again, all right, I know that this is a crypto channel. The title of it is World War Bitcoin. So where do we go from here with gold? But I think for a lot of you, you're like me. All right. Do I love Bitcoin? Oh, yes, I do. I love Bitcoin. I love it. All right. But you know what I love more? I love gains. I will always love gains more than I love Bitcoin. I'm sorry. All right. So I might talk occasionally or often on this channel about gains. All right. And so when are we going to see some gains? When are we going to see the best opportunity for gains in gold and in silver? Well, I'm thinking somewhere between $3,500 and $4,000. All right, so there's very little support with gold now. It's in uncharted territory, just went in price discovery. Could it be that it bottoms out between $3,400, $3,500, and $3,500? I could absolutely see that. And if it does, if we see gold under $3,500, oh my goodness, I'm hiccuping. People ask me what I want to buy in the bear market. I want to buy some $3,500 gold in the bear market. I want to buy some $35 silver in the bear market, $40 silver. That's what I want to buy. I don't want to buy $4,350 gold or $55 silver. I do not. But trust me, I want to buy this in the bear market. Does that mean I hold my assets in fiat? That just shoot me. But whatever. Let's see. Christopher Aaron, I don't know who you are, but remember that $1,000 rise in gold over the last 3 months. It could easily give 90% of that back within the next 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Wow. Okay. There is zero support for gold on the chart until 35 to 3,500. Note, just because there is zero support for gold until this level does not mean I am short. Only a gambler shorts into a parabolic advance. There's also another alternative. I've taken profits off the table on many of my gold positions and am not a buyer until lower levels. So what am I going to buy? So, all right, do I think we're going to $3,500 for gold? I can absolutely see that. And if you were to force me to make that decision now, I would say yes. So what are we going to buy? We're going to buy gold and silver, and we are going to buy gold and silver miners. The miners, this is the alt season that I have been waiting for. Now, my gold and silver miners have done very well. I'm ecstatic with the returns from the gold and silver miners that I bought earlier this year. But the returns that would come after that move down and after a move down in silver, the returns are insane. Multiple X's. That's my alt season. Until we get a crypto alt season, which I don't think is happening soon. We'll get altcoin runs, sure, but not a full-blown alt season like 2021. And this is a safer alt season, and it's one you can comfortably hold for many years. All right. So anyway, do we have a reason for hope? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And until we get to the yellow circle there, I'm just going to chill. I'm going to mess around with different meme coins and sell covered calls on my stocks, and then we'll see what happens. That'll be, hopefully we get there when the fun begins. All right, so that is all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful rest of your week, and I will most certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.